Welcome to Two-Part FTV. Joining us from faraway Australia is Mr. John Cox, author of Angel of Aleppo. This is a story of the Armenian genocide. Congratulations, Mr. Cox. Your book deals with the story of an heroic woman whose will to live and move forward is the story of many other women, Armenian women, who survived the Armenian genocide. The story deals with your wife's paternal mom, grandma, Tati Anush. Uh, how did it all begin? What was so special about the life, and how were you able to get all the information about Tati Anush?
Well, my wife Lilith is born in Armenia. She's from Yerevan. We met online. When I saw her, I just said, I have to go and meet that woman. And so I did. And we connected like pretty quickly, even though she barely spoke any English. But cutting to the chase, I learned about her family while I was researching Armenia. And
Mm,
so Tatiana Nush was actually just a very small girl in 1915, but she witnessed her own mother being killed by a Turkish soldier. And that sort of instigating incident was the kind of starting point for my story, pretty much. And it began life as a play, which we staged with a small Armenian group here in Adelaide in 2015 to commemorate the centenary of the genocide. Play was called Journey of Faith,
mm. What
and
was
we
the
had a sorry,
Yeah, I'm sorry, continue.
oh yeah, we had a successful season in the Holden Street theatres in Adelaide, and then um, we had some support from the Hamas Keen Chant group in Sydney,
Mhm.
and they came to the opening night and loved it, and so took us to Sydney a few weeks later, and we had two great performances in the Zenith Theatre in Chatswood on the North Shore of Sydney, and they were very well received. I'm subsequently now in conversation with the Hummus and Sharp people to hopefully launch the novel in Sydney.
What is so special about this lady?
Anush, Tati Anush had 37 grandchildren,
How many?
uh, 37.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
9 kids, 37. Lilith is the star baker in the group. She taught them to bake with both hands and heart. But she was a very special woman, indomitable. Uh, and, when I started getting a sense of her story and how she just didn't give up, how she survived, how she learnt to read and write Armenian after she was
Mm.
70 years old. That's just the kind of woman she was. So she has kind of inspired Anush, the protagonist of Angel of Aleppo. There's an important difference because in that Anush's story starts in Angel at the age of 16 and not as a little girl, um, because climactic events take her to the war memorial on North Terrace in Adelaide 50 years later
Mm.
for a scene that plays out on the 50th anniversary of the Armenian genocide. I kind of, when I was writing the play, that made sense to me when I sort of did all the arithmetic of it and worked out how the story, how old Anush had to be and so on for the purposes of the story. Anyway, it transposed into the novel seamlessly, and there was just a whole lot of other work that went into the story that fleshed the story right out.
The story where the book was published recently, only recently, and but do you have any idea what was the response so far?
Oh no, well to be precise, the book hasn't been published yet,
Yeah. Oh.
but it will be. It's going to be released on June 1. Well, that's my plan. I have an editor who is based over there in Philadelphia, and she and I have been working together very closely about with a marketing plan and all the rest of it to get the story out there. So this this interview with you is a great sort of like addition to the marketing plan, because I really want as many people as possible to have this story. For Armenians, I think it's it is a good thing, a really good thing to have a story about them.
Mhm.
It doesn't even, I am not Armenian born, but I'm kind of like an honorary Armenian in a sense, because I have this Armenian family now, and I've done so much work on it and done so much reading about it that I feel their pain in a way. And so the great thing is, it needs to be told. The story needs to be told, and the Armenian audience will get it and want to be and want to love it, and then they will spread the story. They will, they will send it out to their networks who aren't necessarily Armenian, because it's not only for Armenians. It's about people who crave justice,
Mhm.
about people who have suffered and seek some form of redemption, about people who need to understand about forgiveness, people who need to maintain faith, maintain hope, because these are important themes throughout the story, and about how, in the end, the most important thing is love.
Mhm.
So it's a universal theme.
How do you explain, how do you comment about the denial of these atrocities by the Ottoman Empire or the Turkish people or whoever?
Yeah, it is. There's. I have a lot of thoughts about this. It appalls me. The Germans have spent 7+ decades apologizing for the Holocaust, and they got the idea from the Ottoman Empire and from Talat Pasha and his henchmen. They Hitler himself said something along the lines of, after all, who remembers the extermination of the Armenians? That is a quote that will appear at the start of the novel. Um, what do I think? It's appalling. It's unconscionable. It's outrageous that in a century and a bit, there has been no official acknowledgement, and there, in fact, has been this, like fake news, for want of a better word, that
Mhm.
nothing happened, nothing to see here, bad things happen in war. This is the narrative that they propagate, and this is a persistent narrative that began like pretty much after Armenia was an independent republic for a very short time, and then subsumed into the Soviet Union. Uh, this was, like bad things happen in war. There were some people who fought against the Ottoman Empire. They had to be put down. Yes, it was unfortunate, but let's move on now. It's all gone now. It's finished. Nothing happened. Don't worry about it. It's appalling. And the current guy, the current dictator of Turkey, Erdogan, is as bad, if not worse, than his predecessors. He seems to have these pan-Turkic notions of continuing the work
Mhm.
that, if you can call it work, that began during the Ottoman Empire, and the expansion east, is part of his agenda. I've read somewhere that Armenia is described as a bone in the throat of Turkic expansionism, or words to that effect. And there is also this sort of post-truth narrative that informs all of this denial. It's this uh, failure to take any interest in the plight of Armenia, like most notably in Artsakh last year, by the major nations, because they are transactional. The big guys are transactional. It's like, what can you do for me? What can I do for you? Oh, there's Armenia. Who cares? Well, no, we can't help them. They're not going to be able to give us anything in turn. So, whatever. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate about all those sons of those mothers that are dying, and stuff like that. But yeah, we can't do anything. Hands are tied. The Minsk group has been reprehensibly slow to act. Vladimir Putin has been very opportunistic. Erdogan and his puppet Aliyev have been, evil and stupid together, if that's possible.
Let me ask you, you mentioned the Hamaskain in your area. Give me the idea of Armenians or Armenian community or Armenian activities in your area.
Well, Hamaskain in Sydney is in stark contrast to here in Adelaide.
Sure.
Here in Adelaide, there is a very small group of Armenians. It's the Armenian Cultural Association of South Australia, and their president is a young lady called Eleanor, who is about in her 30s, and they have a little group that meets socially, and we work with them
I
to
see.
stage the play. Like it was a small group, but everyone worked together as a team, and and the play went well. But
Good.
in Sydney, in stark contrast, there's possibly 40,000 people of Armenian heritage,
Mhm.
uh, and quite a large concentration of them on the North Shore of Sydney, and also in the middle of the very big western suburbs of Sydney. Uh, there are two federal politicians, the members for the seats of Bennelong and North Sydney, who are members of the sitting government at the moment, who have quite a lot of Armenian constituents. They've both spoken up, especially over acknowledgement of Artsakh in federal parliament.
Mhm.
But, you know, I am not expecting any miracles in that area, because Australia has this relationship with Turkey centered around Anzac Day, which you probably know about,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of history in it, and there is it's quite a Anzac has grown to mythic status, and it's almost like an industry. The War Memorial in Canberra had a $500 million upgrade, and the Prime Minister describes it as a sacred place, um, and so on. If there were any hint of acknowledgement, even just for Artsakh, I'm guessing that Erdogan would cancel all future Anzac Cove commemorations on April
Uh,
25.
mhm. Mhm.
You understand, of course, that Anzac Day is the day after
Mhm.
the acknowledged genocide commemoration day, and it's no accident because Talat Pasha and his henchmen used the imminent invasion of the Dardanelles as a smokescreen to begin their dirty work in Istanbul.
Yeah. The title of the book, Angel of Aleppo, is very, very catchy because just the name Aleppo means so
Yes,
much to Armenians because that was the area people, if you got to Aleppo somehow after the genocide experience, more or less you would be called saved. And that
yes,
was the area to be in. And I know many, many Armenians who find their roots in Aleppo. So there are many, many angels of Aleppo because every Armenian mother somehow is connected to that very, very, very special area of Syria. Let me ask you, in closing, what would you like to tell listeners?
well, this is um, Angel of Aleppo is a story about losing everything
Yep.
except the capacity for love. Because I understand Armenians, more than nearly every race in the world,
Mm.
um, have been forced to lose everything. But ordinary Armenians have not lost the capacity for love.
Mhm.
It's that capacity to care for each other and to hang in there through the toughest of times that characterizes them and gives most um, ordinary, you know, day-to-day Armenian citizens their their incredible capacity for love and humanity. And my wife is a great example of that. She had endured some very tough times in around about 1994. After the earthquake, after the breakup of the Soviet Union, the war, the Azeri War back then. No power in Yerevan. Trotting around between apartments for like to go to the one that had power, that sort of thing. So, the single takeaway from my novel is resilience and love, and hopefully a great and memorable heroine, Anush, and a compelling story. It is fiction, firmly based in fact. I did a lot of research. Any mistakes in there are mine. Hopefully there aren't many. My editor has been very thorough, and I'm really hoping that your readers, your viewers on Butter TV, readers everywhere will love the book as I have loved writing it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Once again, congratulations. It must be a very special feeling of accomplishment, and we look forward to seeing the book in June or whenever. The pandemic really hurt us somehow. We all fell back in our works. But congratulations again.